So this is my sewing machine. As I said, this is a Bernina 750 Quilters edition. It's just coming up for 7 years old. It did have a fault with the PCB board on it, which meant that it wouldn't switch on. It would just get stuck on a loading screen and there was no way to fix it, which apparently is a fairly uncommon fault. However, it was under warranty because it comes with a long warranty, so I was able to get it fixed without any cost, which is fantastic. So what we're going to do is we are going to thread this up with our top thread. We're going to change the needle to the right needle. I believe I just have a standard 80 needle in just now, which probably needs replaced because it's been in there for a while. Let's see, we have no idea because that writing is so small. An 80-12 needle. Yeah, it's an 80-12 needle, so it's just a standard needle. Let's see, do we have a top stitch needle? So I have a pack of universal needles. So I use Schmetz needles. These were recommended by the guy that serviced my sewing machine. Schmetz needles. So they are 80-12, so they're universal, so they're for piecing. And then I have 90-14s, which are for quilting. And I'm thinking that this one lying loose is E90-14, yes. So I had this in before and haven't used it that much because I didn't get very far in my project. So let's change this needle. I hate changing needles because I always feel like I'm going to snap it. Okay, so now we're going to thread. So currently it's threaded with piecing cotton. So here is my top stitch thread. Down, down, down. The one thing I hate about this sewing machine is the threading mechanism. I find it so difficult and footery to get it round a little bit there. Okay, so that's our top stitch threading. And I know I have a full bobbin. Just pull the bobbin thread up. So we're going to try, this one's box standard setting just now, but all I'm going to do is I'm going to lengthen the stitch a little bit. I'm going to try 2.5 on this, see what that looks like. The good thing is, because the inside is that intricate pattern that's already done, anything I do on the outside doesn't have to exactly match. It's because it's not going to be connected. It's not like it tails off, so I doubt anybody would even notice if it's the wrong size. But what I am wanting to make sure is that I get the tensions right so that there's no big balls of thread on the back. Okay, so we're ready to sew. I'm just going to sew a little bit to see how we get on. I'm not sure I have high hopes for this, but we shall see. As I said, I'm just using the standard settings of the sewing machine, standard tensions and things to see how it handles first. All I've done is I've changed the length of the stitch to 2.5. I'm just going to sew a little line down here and see how it gets on. Oops. So the fabric is stuck on the foot, so that's a great start. So we're just going to ignore that and try again. I can already see that that stitch is not quite long enough though. Should be enough. Okay, let's see. So the back looks good. Nice and neat, no dog hair and no thread nests, which is fantastic. So that's okay, so the tension's fine, that's wonderful. But the top I don't like. There we go. So yeah, it's really close together. And we don't like that. Okay, so let's take the thread, the stitch length, and let's bump it up again. So that was 2.5, let's try 3 this time. See how that works. You can take the needle out now because we don't need them. No, I'm still not liking it. It's still really close together and it's still not quite what I was looking for. So we're going to try again. Let's bump it up to 4 this time. I mean, they're getting really long. It's getting quite long. But what I'm looking for is a little bit of separation so it doesn't just look like one big long thread. I'm looking for a little bit of a separation between each stitch. So let's try this. Nice thing about using a long stitch like that is that it'll quilt really fast. The back's looking good. So the back's actually looking like how I want. Let's see if I can show you this on the camera. So this was 2.5. This was 3 and this was 4. So you can see on the front it's not looking very different at all. But on the back it's looking, there's a big difference on the back which you can't see. And these are just dog ends because I haven't cut the threads. But interestingly, on camera this one looks pretty good. But in reality it doesn't look that good to me. So let's see what else we can play with. So this sewing machine has different stitches built into it, and it has folders, and there is a whole section of quilting stitches. So this starts at 1324 on this machine, so there's a blanket stitch. Don't know what that is. There's another blanket stitch, there's a kind of meander thing, and some other decorative stuff. So there's irregular look, and then there's what are supposed to be hand quilting stitches. This tells you that there's 6 stitches per inch. This one is 8 stitches per inch. So let's try 6 stitches per inch. And we'll do that on the second strip down here. Just make sure that we're on it. So this is stitch 1346 on my Bernina. And let's see what this looks like. Okay. So this is the stitch where it takes one forward and then back and forward and back and forward and back. So you can, I don't know if the camera picks it up, it's quite small and difficult to see, but it's got little bubbles in it. We don't like it. So we're going to skip that other one that was 8 inches. We're going to try the irregular look. I think this means it just randomly does a different stitch line. So we'll try this and see how it looks. Again, it's got that forward and back motion, which means it takes longer to quilt. No, don't like any of those. None of those are suitable. So let's jump back up to the start. So let's try 1325. So this just looks like a regular stitch, but it does look like it's got gaps in between it. Let's see if this actually works. That's looking better. Yeah, that's looking better. What's the difference between that one and that one? So let's just see what happens. So that 1325 had the default stitch length of 3. So let's see what happens if we turn it up to like 4. 4. No. And then see what it does. Wow, it goes fast. Yeah, I think the default stitch length that had of 3 was fine. Okay, so it's stitch 1325 with a stitch length of 3. Okay, so this was the last one. Oh, this is the last one we did. This was the stitch length of 4, and that looks pretty good. This was the stitch length of 3, so this is stitch 1325. I don't think it really matters. I like either of them. This one would go so fast because the stitch length is so long that we'd be able to just power through it. And we want to be finished this in 2 weeks. So maybe we'll split the difference and go for a stitch length of 3.5. So let's just try that very quickly. So this one here is 3.5. It's really not that much difference. It's really unnoticeable. On camera though, it looks pretty good. So we're going to go with 3.5. So that's stitch 1325 at 3.5 stitch length. Just for fun though, we're going to try what this meander stitch is because I'm very curious as to what it does. Never done it before, so that's pretty cool. I've never done that stitch before on the sewing machine. I quite like that. But that would take far too long to quilt and it doesn't fit with what we've already done. But that's pretty cool to know for a really thin border. And it looks pretty neat on the back as well. Yeah, good. Perhaps make this longer. So just for fun, I made that stitch length really long to see what it would look like. It doesn't look quite as cool as this. But it's still, you know, if you're not good at free motion meandering, then yeah, definitely. Okay. So just to quickly recap what we've done here. I tried to find fabric scraps from that project so that we could make a quilt sandwich. Couldn't find any scraps, so I had to cut some of this fleecy fabric off the back to make a little quilt sandwich. And the idea behind this was that I can't remember the settings on my sewing machine or the tensions using a top stitch thread, so I needed to practice. So eventually what we decided on is this stitch here. And what that is stitch 1325 on my sewing machine. I set to 3.5 for the stitch length, and what that's going to do is just blast through, and what I think I'm going to do is I was talking about whether to do squares on point or whether to just echo the squares that are already there that are not on point. I can't decide. I can't decide. I can't decide what's going to look best. I think that squares like this will look nice against the diamond because it's a counter shape, so it'll create some kind of secondary pattern. Okay, so this is what we'll do. We'll do one square like this that echoes the outside line of the existing quilting. And then if that looks okay, we'll continue with that. If it looks a bit rubbish, then we'll go back to doing squares on point and echo our way out and see how far we can get. Okay, so let's do some quilting.